Okay, everyone, let's talk about personality. Basically, psychologists study personality, and different theorists study personality from different perspectives. And we're going to be discussing some of the major perspectives on personality in this particular class. One of the most well-known is the psychodynamic perspective. The most famous psychology theorist in history would be Sigmund Freud. Psychoanalytic theory is considered a psychodynamic theory. Humanistic theories, Carl Rogers, Abraham Maslow are well known from this perspective, and we'll talk about humanistic perspective. The trait perspective, the personological and life story perspective, the social cognitive perspective, biological perspective, and we'll also be talking about how personality is assessed. We need to be able to identify personality differences and be able to measure personality. And finally, we'll talk about how personality is very closely linked with our health and wellness. Okay, well, let's give a good basic textbook definition of personality. It's a pattern of enduring distinctive thoughts, emotions, and behaviors that characterize the way an individual adapts to the world. That's a pretty comprehensive definition. Let's break it down a little bit, just to kind of get an idea of how we can think about personality. For one thing, we could think of personality as a pattern, meaning that where each of us has, in other words, it's not just random reactions that we have to the environment. There's a pattern. There's an organization that's behind our personality. We may tend to behave in similar ways in similar circumstances. We may have so in other words, there's some kind of a connection. It's a pattern. It's also enduring. Typically, when we talk about personality, we're not talking about moods that come and go. We're talking about characteristics of ourselves that carry with us throughout our lives. They're distinctive, meaning that when we think of personality, we think of personality. Now, while we all share, certainly when we talk about the trait perspective, we share certain kinds of traits with other people. So there are similarities with other people that we have. But nevertheless, our own particular pattern of personality is distinctive. It's unique. So our personalities are unique. Personality consists of our thoughts, our mental processes, so to speak, what we think about, how we make decisions, how we think about our thinking. All that's part of our personality. Our emotions are also part of our personality. Are we a person who gets angry a lot? Are we a person who gets anxious a lot? Are we kind of a laid-back person? Are we a person who gets sad a lot? Are we depressed? All of that is part of our personality. Finally, our personality consists of our behaviors. Really, if you wanted to understand another person's personality, you have to observe their behavior. Now, when it comes to your own personality, you can just kind of look inward and think about yourself, and think about how you see yourself and who do you see yourself as, and so your own personality you kind of see as inside of you. But somebody else's personality, really, the only thing you've got is how they behave. You observe how other people behave, and so basically, our behavior is an essential part of our personality. It's who we are. Okay? And our personality can often guide our behavior, and sometimes maybe not. Sometimes we do things that may violate our sense of who we are. But nevertheless, thoughts, emotions, and behaviors are all part of this global concept of personality. And so this pattern that we have of our thoughts and emotions and behaviors, well, we use these thoughts, feelings, and behaviors to adapt to the world around us. When we think of our personality, we are not completely isolated from the rest of the world. We are still social beings. We interact with other people. We interact with the environment. And our personality helps us cope with the environment and deal with the environment in an effective way. So bottom line is, our personality helps us get through the day. It helps us navigate through this complex world we live in. And basically, that's kind of a way to look at a long version of how we see personality.